All right, so if you don't know me, I'm Marco. I'm an online fitness coach. I've been helping normally skinny fat men for a good amount of time, transitioning to the entrepreneurship niche and testosterone mitochondrial energy function. Yeah, boys, everybody knows as an entrepreneur, it's extremely important to take care of your health. Health is literally wealth, right? And one of the biggest factors that we as men, everybody wants to have higher tests, right? Oh, high test, and shit, right? But at the end of the day, not many men understand how we can actually access that test better. And that's where free test comes in. All right. You have your total test and then you have your free test. All right. Your total test, think of it as all the money you have in your bank. It's locked up though, right? You can't like really access it. And then you have your free test, which is the money you have in your wallet. That's the actual expendable stuff. That's the stuff that can like systemically be used for you and bind everything that you need so you can buy stuff, right? That's basically what free test is. Now, let me share my screen real quick because I did get Claude to organize all my notes and stuff and put it into a presentation. So basically, boys, free test, already talked about that, has been going down every single year. Overall test and free test as well, down 1% basically since 1980, right? So we're now, 36 years, so 36% down in test than men in 1980, right? And we are kind of like the product of the environment, but we can counter it. There are like ways that we can just build back up that test, all right? You have 50% lower sperm count, and the average man under his 30s, 1 in 4, has literally like clinically low test. So basically, boys, what we're going to be looking at, like I explained, is the free test, not the total test. For example, there was one guy, I don't know if you guys saw in the Performance Hub, Gonzalo, he posted his total test. And he's like, bro, boys, like I got fucking massive test. 100%, bro. You got like a 790 score of test, like 790 nanograms per deciliter is very high total test, right? But if you look at his free test, it was 67, right? And 67 is literally on the low end because the range of free test should be between 50 to 250. So you being on the lower end of 50, so 67 is literally like you're damn near on the lowest possible end you could be, right? So you need to free up your free test. As entrepreneurs, so many of us don't even understand that our lifestyle for entrepreneurs, the chronic stress, the sleep deprivation, the lack of movements because you're sat behind the desk, all of this like deprivation of so many natural things that you should be exposed to, which just doesn't happen in our lifestyle as entrepreneurs, is giving you the biggest fucking tank on your free test. And that's why you don't feel as good. That's why you don't feel as focused. That's why you can't even like build that much muscle. That's why you don't have as much, not just sex drive, but drive overall, which is what I'm going to kind of like cover over here on the next one, right? For you to understand what free test is actually going to help you with is muscle and strength. So basically protein synthesis, lean muscle mass, driving libido. When I say driving libido, I don't just mean you wanting to fuck girls. I mean like you wanting, like that feeling of you being able to wake up and feel like you can fucking punch a hole through the wall. Like you can wake up and climb a fucking mountain. That's like the free test. That's that motivation, that like confidence, all of that stuff comes from the free test. All right. Your mood and confidence, like I explained. All right. Basically, when you have low free tests, you're just always kind of like in a depressive state. Not necessarily depressive, but you're not as like energetic. You're not as like, oh, bro, let's do this, let's do that. Like speed to action in your business, speed to action in your life. You know, you're not as productive, right? Energy and focus, same thing. Everything kind of like binds together, you see. And then your body composition, which is kind of like the least important one. Because at the end of the day, if you optimize everything else, your body composition is going to be a product of it. All right. Your body composition is simply just a reflection of your habits. All right. And then your heart and bone, which is your cardiovascular resilience, like your health, all of that stuff. The one kind of conditioning factor that I see in this that I was like, okay, it can be good and it can be bad, is if you're A, too obsessive, which means you lose focus on what actually matters, and B, if you're purely using your free test, so the drive you're getting, your libido, all that stuff, it's not good because that's where all of it is going basically, right? Instead, if you have that drive and you repurpose it to your business, right? You're like feeling horny, feeling all hyped up, but you're like, fuck, let me smash this task. All of that drive is basically going to like help you just perform at a higher level. So instead of you focusing on girls and all that stuff, then it's just how you can be more efficient about it. But it is normal and it is good. It is a sign of having a good, at least a normal test level. I wouldn't say high test, it's just normal test level. Now we're going to talk about SHBG, which is sex hormone binding globulin. Basically what this is, think of it as the handcuffs, all right, as it says here. It's basically what is going to block, not necessarily block, but not allow the receptors, the androgenic receptors, to actually bind the molecules, to actually work. Okay, and what actually raises your SHBG is your chronic undereating. So us as entrepreneurs, we sometimes just lock the fuck in and we forget to eat. All right, if you're chronically undereating, you're going to lose muscle mass. And it's not just like, because if you're not stimulating your muscle, if you're not building something in the gym, if you're not getting active, you're most likely you're not signaling to your body that you need that muscle. And your body is most likely just going to break down the muscle and fat at the same time, obviously. But having low fat, not eating well, doesn't help your hormones, especially in your diet. Fats, people are like, oh, if I eat fats, I'm gonna get fat, right? Bro, that's not how it works. You need fats. However, the kinds of fats that you're having obviously do matter. So your trans fats, you don't want to have trans fats. You can have saturated fats, unsaturated fats. It comes from meats, from eggs. Like, you literally need fats for your testosterone to move. Now, how much you need of it, that's all the difference. Another thing that SHBG connected to aging, if you guys don't know, basically your free testosterone and your testosterone overall is produced in the Leydig cells in your mitochondria. Your mitochondria and the optimization of it is going to help anti-aging. All right, so having lower tests means you don't have as much production in your mitochondria, means you're aging. All right, which means your SHBG is going to be higher. Right, that's exactly why when you get older, your test goes down, because you're aging. Your SHBG is getting higher. All right. Then insulin resistance, everybody knows, or maybe if you don't, now you do. Insulin resistance is like one of the worst things that you can have, because it impedes your body to metabolize shit properly. Insulin is what gets your body, it's what gets the nutrients, the proteins, everything into the cells. So you having a high insulin resistance means that you need to produce more and more and more and more and more and more insulin to just get a normal amount of stuff in your body, right? And you can combat that by eating whole foods, by eating fiber, which is going to help you with your GLP-1, intermittent fasting, which is going to help you regulate your periods of eating, having more water to improve hydrolysis. So hyperthyroid states, thyroid is a gland you have which controls T3 and T4 hormones, which is basically going to regulate your metabolism, alcohol, liver stress, plastic, seed oils, and then medications and stains. All right, statins. Like I said, most men, and especially us as entrepreneurs, we have a couple of these habits piled up, all right, which is the bad sleep, the late night screens because we're working. So to combat this, you need to have a proper wind down routine. You need to have a proper like red light glasses, or if you don't have red light glasses, what you can do, like I do as well, you can literally put on the red lights on your computer or on your phone. They have the option for this now, right? Chronic stress and cortisol is usually like figuring shit out without ever like relaxing, without ever working out, without ever anything, is going to raise your stress, is going to raise your cortisol. And then you're thinking, oh shit, I got to lose fat, I got to be in shape. You're going to go on the long run. That's going to raise your cortisol even more. Don't get me wrong. You can go on long runs, you can do all this shit. But if your cortisol is already high, it is not going to be beneficial for you, adding even more stress on recovery, okay? Because the most, like, your body doesn't necessarily grow when you're doing the exercise or lose fat when you're doing the exercise. It grows, it builds muscle, it loses fat in the recovery process, because that's when your body is actually acting on all the, you basically, when you're exercising, you're giving it all the information on what it needs to do to like metabolize or build muscle or whatever it is. And on the recovery process is your body actually acting on it, okay? And then you have your seed oils and processed foods. Boys, seed oils, I'm not even going to talk about it. Everybody knows. T killers, fucking estrogenic, really kills the binding receptors of testosterone, all right? And then processed food as well. Processed food is extremely high in sodium, leaves you bloated. I can get into the nitty-gritty shit, but overall processed food, everybody knows, is ass for you. And we as entrepreneurs cannot be eating this bullshit, like McDonald's and all these fucking shits that you see. You go to the supermarket, chocolates, whatever the fuck, bro. You know, if it's once in a while, It's not what's going to throw you off. You can, like, I had an acai the other day because I'm in Brazil and I love acai, but that's not my daily routine. That's not my habit. So it's not going to affect me. If it's that one meal that's going to fuck me up, something's wrong with you, right? Then plastics in tap water. I know it's extremely fucking hard to avoid plastics in water. For example, here, like, I went to the supermarket, looked for the best option. There are no really good options. So I went for the best water with the most resilient plastic I can find, right? But microplastics is actually like a big thing. People may, like, just because you don't see it, just because you don't, it's not like noticeably there every single time, doesn't mean it's not there and it's not going to compound. And you'll probably already have fucking bad sleep, or your late night on your computer working. You probably, because of that, already have chronic stress and your cortisol is spiked. And on top of that, you drink water through a plastic water bottle. You see, you already have 4 fucking things that have compounded. So it's not just one. Then beer, overall alcohol, okay, and soy excess, chronic cardio, like I said, drives up the cortisol, nutrient deficiencies. So you're not eating nutrient enough dense foods. Basically, like, you're eating chicken and rice. Bro, that shit is ass. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a fitness coach. I used to be like, yeah, that's the approach for fitness. Like, you want to get lean chicken and rice. No, bro. You need, like, high micronutrient dense profiles on your foods, like steak, liver, heart, eggs, milk. Just like, bro, in your business, when you hire an employee, everything you do has an intention behind it to feed your business, to help your business. It's the exact same thing with your body. Everything you do, which is nutrition especially, which is like one of the most important parts of it, needs to be dialed in. It needs to have an intention behind it. You can't just be eating for the fuck of eating because you're hungry, right? You can't just be eating on a response. And then common drugs. I don't think anyone like really does any like sort of drugs, but like overall medicines as well. So now we've looked at the problem. Now we're going to look at what we can do moving forward, right? First of all is your sleep and your blue light. Okay. Like I said, put on the blue light blockers on your screen or the glasses, sleep better, have a wind down routine, have magnesium, have melatonin if you have trouble sleeping, set your circadian rhythm by every time you wake up, look directly into the sun. If you don't have the sun, you can get an infrared light, okay? Another thing is, this is something I like personally fuck up on. It's when I sleep, I like to sleep like either some music or like my phone playing or like with a movie playing in the back, just because it's an old habit, right? Which is something I'm trying to take care of. One of the things that this does is, if you look, there's like the radiation meter that your body can only sustain up to 200, and your phone, when it's on and when you open Instagram and all that shit, it goes up to like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. Okay, so it is literally what, like 20 to 30 times higher than what your body can technically handle, right? So when you sleep, hopefully leave your electronics either on airplane mode or in the other room. I know we're entrepreneurs. I know we got shit going on, and maybe there's like a call or a text that we need to attend to in the middle of the night. If that happens, bro, that's fine. But that's where you need to be able to dial in the rest, right? Like, for example, I have clients that he just works too much. He can't sleep, right? That much. He sleeps like 4, 5, 6 hours a night, 7 when he actually can. And so we have to dial in every other aspect of his life. He has to eat more. He has to spend more money so he can eat more. He has to spend more money so he can optimize the other aspects of his life. Right? If you can't optimize everything, optimize one part, hopefully either sleep or nutrition. Right? Then eat like your grandfather. Like I said, whole foods is the way to go. And it's not hard. It's not like you can't make it tasty, bro. You can make it tasty. It's whole foods. You can eat fucking steak, sweet potatoes, eggs, just add a bit of salt, season it, make it tasty. All right? Milk. Avoid overall like vegetables because it's a big marketing scheme, has pesticides. Like avoid, for example, green beans, broccoli, like lettuce, corn, soybeans. I can send everybody a list after this because you're not going to remember this here on the call. All right. Move heavy. What I mean by this is go with heavy compounds. Do exercises every single day. Right. When I say every single day, I don't mean go and fucking kill yourself every single day in the gym. You need to recover as well from it. But on your rest days, do cardio. All right. When you want to do cardio, for me specifically, and for everyone that wants to lose fat, what I do that works for me for my schedule is I get to 10K steps a day. All right. And part of it is when I go to the gym, I try to knock out at least 20 to 30 minutes on the incline treadmill zone 2. And what that's going to do is it's going to put your body in the fat burning zone. Basically, it's going to tell your body to, instead of use your glycogen stores, instead of use your carbs for fuel, it's going to be using directly the fat for fuel. Okay. And then detox from the modern world. Like I said, seed oils, plastics, disruptors like your phone, disruptors like the 5G towers. If you can, ground. Okay, there's so many things you can do to detox, and this is what you need to be focusing on. These are the generally like the 5 things for you to focus on in order. Okay, most important is sleep. Second is nutrition. Third is movement. Fourth is detox, and fifth is smart supplementation.
For the detox, like us as
Mm.
entrepreneurs have to work a lot on the computer. When are the best times to actually go out of the computer and actually like touch some grass, you know?
Bro, in the morning, don't like I know it's hard because a lot of times we have like we're in different time zones, or we have employees in different time zones, or we have clients in different time zones, and you have to like get up in the morning at 6 a.m. and check your messages because your clients are going to text you. But if you can preserve your morning routine, it's one of the most important parts. It's the way you're setting your body. Exactly, morning walk. Um, if you're like waking up and you're directly going to your phone and spiking your dopamine, you're setting your day for an easy dopamine day. What this means is if you wake up and you scroll on your phone, you've woken up and now your brain is active, you have this dopamine spike, but you essentially did nothing for it. If you wake up and you go on a walk, you still get home, you still feel refreshed, you still feel like, oh man, this was like a really nice walk, but you worked for that dopamine. So that sets your dopamine for the day. Right. So if you actually want to go and touch some grass, if there's a right moment to do it, it's in the morning when you wake up. Go outside, look at the sun. It's getting summer. Like we're getting to summer, boys. It's gonna get hot. All right. Go outside, look at the sun, touch some grass, go to the beach. Just have a moment with yourself, whether it's 10, 15 minutes. Even if it's you, like, oh, I'm gonna go drink my coffee. Get your coffee and go outside and drink it. All right. Catch the sun at least like 20 to 30 minutes a day. Ideally 20, 30 minutes a day. Minimum. Yeah.
So you mentioned when you wake up, as soon as you wake up, you just look to the sun, like straight with your eyes. I was wondering because places like where I live and like places like Portugal, this is very cloudy, so you cannot very easily like see the sun. Is it still worth it to go outside and try to capture the sun, look at the sun straight in the eyes?
Yeah, definitely if you can. Like if it's not too cloudy, I mean it's always going to be beneficial for you to go outside because there is still going to be UV that's going to escape through the clouds. Um, but if it's like if you see that the UV is high, but it's still like cloudy, then you can. But if the UV is low, and it's cloudy, then it's not going to do a massive difference. You're still going to feel good. It's still going to be better than nothing. But another really good way would be to look at a infrared light because it's the artificial sun, right? So that's a way that you could replace it if you don't have access to it. Now, sleep and light. How are you going to optimize this? 7 on the lowest end. There's so many studies that show that if you get under 7 hours of sleep, it's not that it counts, but it's very similar to you not getting any sleep at all. It doesn't give your body enough time to actually reset, to actually let the hormones grow, for you to actually like relax your mind. But at the same time, if you optimize your REM, like you don't have to sleep as much if you can optimize your REM. But optimizing your REM is extremely hard. And for us as entrepreneurs with the daily lifestyle that we have, the best way to do it is your body needs to experience a temperature drop. So if you take a hot shower, okay, you take a hot shower and then you go into your room and it's cold, you put it like 18 degrees Celsius, you get under the blankets, your body is going to experience that temperature drop. And when you experience that temperature drop, it sets your body into that wind down state and you start to get sleepy and you start to fall asleep. All right, fully black, no devices in the bed, like I said, cover your eyes for the circadian rhythm. When you wake up, look at the light, okay? Like I said, sun on skin within 30 minutes of waking. Hopefully you can also like look at the sun for like 5 seconds. Don't look too much, but you can look at it. It can heal your cornea as well. Okay. And like I said, block the blue light after sunset. I wouldn't say necessarily after sunset. I would say like 3 hours before you go to sleep, 3 to 4 hours before you go to sleep. Okay. And then walking after meals, after dinner, all that stuff. It helps with digestion. It helps you prime yourself for sleep. Okay. Then eating like your grandfather. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty boring stuff. I can send this presentation over to you guys after. You can take a look at everything. All right. Sprints once a week or twice a week if you can. When it comes to food as well, alongside the sprints is oysters. Oysters are really good to eat once or twice a week. Okay. Also sauna. If you guys have access to a sauna, it's really good for you to get your heavy metals out of your skin. But a very important thing is you can't just sauna and shower. When you sauna, you are going to have your pores are going to be opening up. Get a clean towel, and after every round of the sauna, wipe your body out with a towel because that's actually going to remove the heavy metals. Okay, sauna better than steam room. Yes, Yes, it is. I used to go up to the bar and I used to get a pack of ice. Not a pack of ice, like a cup with ice. And I used to get like a block or 2 blocks of ice. And I used to put it in my balls, and then I used to go in the sauna. Another thing is I would cover my head in the sauna with a towel, simply because your head, when exposed to that temperature, it just doesn't respond the same way that your body does. It's not as resilient as your body is. Another thing that's also pretty good, but like I said, everybody's situation is different. So you have to understand your situation. If your cortisol is up, all that stuff. I wouldn't recommend cold exposure unless your cortisol is regulated normally. How to know if your cortisol is regulated normally? If you can sleep well, if you get daily movement, if you're not like constantly stressed and agitated and all that stuff, if you don't take immense amounts of caffeine, all right, caffeine is really good, by the way, boys, but that's another topic, right? Overall, sauna, cold exposure if you can, because if your cortisol isn't spiked, have it, it's good. Detox method, water, boys, water is like fucking goated. It's genuinely goated. Like, the more water you have, the more you're going to flush out your system, the more you're going to feel energized because your body is in a better balance. Like, your cells literally need water to stay in homeostasis, which is literally just the balance of your cells. Homeostasis is literally called cellular balance, and water helps you achieve that. On top of that, hydrolysis, bro. Hydrolysis is the way your body can metabolize, especially fat. All right, water helps so like immensely with that. It's insane how sometimes I have clients that like they're struggling, they're eating well, all that stuff. And I tell them, boys, like, bro, drink more water. They feel more energized and they start dropping so much fucking water weight. A, because if you're drinking more water, you're flushing yourself out a bit more, and B, helps with hydrolysis, helps with metabolism. You're just losing more weight overall. Plastic, personal care, cookware, pesticides, receipts. Boys, like, if you're fucking scared of receipts, like Bruno sees a receipt and he's like, no, my test. Like, if at the end of the day, if the receipt is what's fucking up your test, bro, like, you don't have tests to begin with. Like I said, you can be fucking skeptical and look at everything, oh my god, and stress about everything, but that's going to also raise your cortisol. If you just go about your life and overall avoid it because it's part of your lifestyle, but when you see a receipt, you're not fucking afraid to touch it, that's fine. Like I said, everything is like in moderation in a sense, right? Not in the same way that the propaganda sells it to you, but that's also a different topic. Now, the smart supplementation. Overall, if you have a good lifestyle, you shouldn't need to supplement. If you're eating like high micronutrient dense profiled food, you shouldn't need supplementation. If you're getting your sun, if you're getting your movement, if you're getting your sleep, supplementation wouldn't necessarily be a conversation to begin with. But if you do want to supplement, I would honestly recommend vitamin D3, K2, boron as well, and magnesium glycinate for your sleep. All right, boron and zinc, boys, is going to help you with your test because it helps with DHT. All right, DHT helps with your test. Boys, this is like some bullshit, to be honest. Like, you can have ashwagandha, you can have tonkat, you can have creatine. At the end of the day, a lot of it is marketing, if I'm being so honest, because it's so much easier for them to sell you creatine, for them to sell you ashwagandha and these peptides and these magic things that look, you take this and oh my god, you get everything you ever wanted, right? It's so much easier and it's so much more marketable and profitable for them to sell you these things, these supplements, than for them to sell you the healthy lifestyle you should be living. So overall, you shouldn't be taking supplements if your lifestyle is good either way. All right, like creatine, you can have creatine. I took creatine for a while. Now I'm like kind of like getting off of it because I can get my creatine off of normal food. Either way, like, it's not going to be the synthetic creatine that's so pushed out by influencers and all that shit that's going to make the difference. All right. And then the multivitamin is the food, like I said. Yeah, these are everything that you like cut out of your phone. I'm not going to go over this again. I've already talked a lot about it, except for the daily porn, which literally flatlines your fucking libido. Literally, like, if you're watching porn for your libido, for your mental health as well, like your mental clarity, your focus, your drive, all that stuff, it fucks it up. It's like genuinely serious, right? So porn is the one thing I would say cut out completely. It's the same thing as mental masturbation in business, right? It's like everything you're seeing here, like the principles are extremely the same as building a business, but it's just much more niche to fitness. All right. Now, 10 actions for you to start tomorrow. Be in bed hopefully by 10:30. Eat 3 eggs. Boys, I'm not even joking. If you eat eggs when you, like, in the night before you go to sleep, you will wake up with wood so fucking hard you can punch a hole through your fucking house, bro. Like, I'm so serious. Cut beer, cut alcohol. Overall, boys, you shouldn't be having alcohol. It's not like a flex. It's not like drink water, drink fresh juice, drink stuff like that. Drink raw milk. I don't understand. To me personally, I don't understand the fascination over alcohol. Filter your water. Switch to glass bottles. Stainless steel pans. Teflon is fucking shit for you. Okay. Stack on vitamin D3, K2, magnesium, zinc, boron. The only one that is harder for you to get from your food is boron. Zinc you can get from oysters. Magnesium you can get from grapes. D3, K2 you can get from liver. You can get from the sun. All right. Sun on face. Drop all the cereals. Lift heavy at least 3 times a week. Sprints once a week if you can. Walk every single day. Replace your deodorant. I have like this natural deodorant. It's like you can search for natural deodorants. You can search for natural soaps. You can search for natural shampoos. You can even use eggs. You can make your own like mixes with baking soda. That's what it is. Baking soda.
Yeah.
Baking soda. Exactly. And then just before I get to you, Kian, order your blood work. I'm actually going to do this the second I get back to Portugal. I'm going to take a look at my test. And I'm going to do a 30-day series as well on Instagram of helping my test go up if any of you boys want to watch it as well. And then you can also learn everything from it. Go on, Kian. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to ask, you know how you said before with the ashwagandha and the other thing, you were saying, oh, it's maybe like marketing, you can get it from your normal foods. Is it the same with what you're saying with like the zinc, the boron, and
No, okay. So, bro, one thing is every time you look at something, at a herb, like don't get me wrong, ashwagandha and all these things, they are marketing. They can help. They can effectively help, but they are mostly marketing. All right, it's nothing you can't replace through a normal diet and through a better lifestyle. When we're talking about boron and zinc, most people don't have access to food with high boron, high zinc, high magnesium. Okay, normally in your diets, you're not going to get the optimal range for it. The one I would recommend like if you're going to supplement, the one I'd recommend supplement more with is boron and zinc. Those are the 2 primary ones. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. So would you say something like boron and zinc is like a non-negotiable for everyone, would you say?
Yeah, I would say, well, not necessarily non-negotiable because you can get it from your food, but like if you look at your food, you analyze it. Like, bro, you can literally go on MyFitnessPal and track your food for a day, which would be your normal day. You buy the pass or the premium, which is 50 fucking euros, right? You buy it, and then you can look at all your stats of micronutrients, like the whole micronutrient profile for the day, and you're gonna see what you're lacking in. And then you can either A, understand, okay, can I get these foods that are going to help me complete the micronutrient profile? If I can, awesome, let me buy those foods more. If I can't, let me supplement. That's the way you should look at it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Is there such thing as like too many supplements?
Bro, I think no, because at the end of the day, if you have a lot of supplements, you have like a very complete micronutrient profile. But if you're basically just supplementing, then there's something wrong with your diet. Because it's in the word, it's a supplement. It's in support, all right? It's not a replacement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, boys, that's basically it. Do you have any questions for me before we kind of like just finish everything off? Or no? All right, see you, boys. Have a good one.